Hey guys, if you're listening to this, you obviously like podcasts. You probably like music too, I would imagine. On Spotify, you can listen to all of that in one place for free. You don't even need a premium account. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. The good thing is, is on Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcast so you never miss an episode. You can download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, so you don't have to worry about it cutting in and out like I have to when I'm at work. And you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends via Spotify's integrations with social platforms like Instagram. Just search for the Really Rich Podcast on the Spotify app or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. And follow me so you never miss an episode of the Really Rich Podcast. Last but not least, though, Spotify is the world's leading music streaming service. I don't know if you guys knew that. I did not, but it is. And now it can be your go-to for podcasts as well. Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Adam Rich from the Really Rich Podcast. Today I want to talk about, do a little business episode like this. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, I think this will be very beneficial for you to understand how business operates and how managers manage and things like that. But really, I wanted to get into more about how to manage a business properly, to have a good culture, to have a good morale, to make sure your employees feel safe and comfortable and happy coming to work, to make sure that they actually are interested and they're productive and they like the place that they work. I ran into this a lot with multiple different companies, just different styles of companies, whether it's a factory, an office building, just retail stores, and anything. It could be fast food. It doesn't really matter. But what I have noticed is that if you're a manager and owner of a business, president, CEO, general manager, whatever you want to call it, if you're in a position of power and where you manage employees underneath you, and you have to give out jobs to the people and be the boss of them, it's extremely important of the way that you treat them. It's extremely important that you take care of them, that they feel safe around you, that they feel like they can talk to you like a normal human being and not just only a business relationship. Because when you have just a business relationship with the people that you work with, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of trust. It feels like the trust only goes so far. It feels like the relationship is only going to be so deep and so tight. But if you have the type of management style, if you are a manager, if you are a supervisor, or what else would you call that? You have the supervisor, a foreman. If you're in a factory, so a lot of guys are called foremans, and they're basically the manager of a shift or the supervisor of a shift. It is extremely, extremely critical. If there's one thing to learn, it's that it's extremely important and critical that you are trusting and you care about your employees, about the people underneath you. And I don't just mean you care about them showing up to work and doing a good job for you. I mean that you actually care about the well-being of the person itself. They need to be able to come to you and talk to you on a personal level, deeper than just, hey, this is the problem I have at work. This is how, this is the work issue that we have. Because if you can only talk to your people like business partners, like they don't mean anything to you, like they're not family members, it shows A, a lack of trust, and B, it just sets the tone that it just gives off the feel that you only care about the money, or you only care about the production, or you only care about the job getting done. And I understand that it's very important in any business that the job gets done, obviously, but there are two different approaches to this. You can have what's known as a boss or a leader. And I know they may sound like the same thing, but they're definitely not. You can be a boss and a really shitty leader, but you can be but if you're a leader, you become you don't even have to be a boss if you're a leader. You can be at the same level you can be like in the same position as your coworkers, meaning like if you say you work at a fast food place, you're not a supervisor, you're just either a line cook, or you make fries, you flip burgers, whatever. It could be the most menial task, or it can be the largest task. But you don't necessarily have to be somebody's boss in order to be a great leader. You know, we see a lot of times in situations like maybe it's in movies, maybe it's fictional or whatever, where there's a crisis that breaks out amongst a group of people, and there is no boss of the people, but somebody usually will step up and lead. And when they lead, if they're a good leader, they look at how they can take care of not just themselves, but the people around them, how they can make the people around them look good and flourish and succeed and thrive under, unfortunate circumstances, not the most savory conditions. But a boss will only care really about the production that gets done, or the bottom line, or the end game. They don't care about how you feel. They don't care about how you are in life, or what is going on around you. All they care about, for the most part, is that you make them look good. There's a huge difference. If you're a good leader, you care about making your people look good, and if you're a boss, you care about the people making you look good. And this is detrimental. It's horrible. It's critical. It could ruin a business, no matter how big your business is. You might be in charge of 2 people. You might be in charge of 2,000 people. It doesn't really matter. What matters is how you lead, how you motivate, how you make a person at the job feel about coming to work every day. I've dealt with so many people. I've dealt with good leaders, and I've dealt with bosses, and they are supremely different in the way they run their operations, the way they handle people, the way they communicate with people. If you're at a business, and I've dealt with this in my own personal life, when you're at a business where they only care about the production, they only care about the money that's coming in every year, you may have the type of boss that changes a lot of things, or makes a lot of things happen at work, makes rules or policies that ultimately only benefit the company and not the people itself. Whereas if you run a business like a great leader, what a great leader would do is make sure that they run the business in a way where it takes care of the people first, helps them. The policies are built around making the people enjoy the job. If you look at companies like Google, all right, if you look at like their main offices, or the areas where just regular employees, like not extremely high ups, not the corporate side, but just any worker that works at Google, when you look at the places like Google and Apple and Microsoft and just anywhere where there's a great culture, they're all kind of done the same way. They try to make the company fun to be there. They try to make it exciting. They try to give you hope and promise that that you have opportunities to grow and move up and better yourself and better your career. They give you opportunities to basically promote yourself in life, and not necessarily just at the company. You'll do that too, but it's more about you feeling a sense of accomplishment, you feeling like you're a part of a well-oiled machine. You feel like you're a strong component of this company. And even if you're even I worked at Wendy's. When I was between the ages of 14 to 16, I worked at Wendy's, the fast food place. And listen, Wendy's, their food's fine or whatever. If you like fast food, their food's fine. But when I worked there, I felt like just some person that they like, just a body to fill a spot, to fill a position. I didn't feel like I was anything relevant or important to the operation of that store, let alone the whole damn company. And when you feel like you're just a body that is filling a position, you don't really have this sense of accomplishment or this desire to be great or to move up or get yourself promoted. You just feel like, all right, this is just a paycheck. I'm just going to come to work every day and do whatever, needs to get done in order to keep my job. And I'll go home and I'll get the same paycheck regardless. But when you feel like when you're at a place where they highly encourage growth, they highly encourage an open door communication system, they highly encourage you to be better and feel good about coming to work, you wake up every day before you go to work with the sense of, man, I can't wait for my next day. I can't wait for my next opportunity. I can't wait to do something and be big and be important for this place. And this goes all the way down to the janitors and the mailroom attendants or whatever, the mail clerks, the guys handing out fucking your paychecks every week. Like you have a sense of importance in a company, no matter what your position is. And that is a great company. That's a great culture to work for. Now, the pay might not be the greatest. The benefits might not be the greatest. The insurance may not be the greatest. The 401k, all that. There may be little elements to the job that's not your ideal situation. But at the same time, if you're in an environment where you can thrive and you feel good about it and you feel good about how you are as an employee and you feel good about your coworkers, you're not having a lot of issues or problems, you don't feel threatened at work, you don't feel like you're out of place, that's a great culture to be a part of. And good managers, good leaders, good owners, good CEOs or any position like that, good management knows how to make everybody feel just as important as the next guy, regardless of position. Because you think about it in life, whether you're talking to a guy that works at the bank, a guy that works at Wendy's, a person that works at a clothing store, a person that works at a government office, it doesn't matter what position or what job they have in life. If you feel a good connection with the person, you can talk to them however you want. Like, you can talk to them like their family, or you can talk to them like they're a friend, instead of just treating them like they're in some position of power that you need to kiss their ass. If you feel like every day you need to go to work, you need to kiss somebody's ass, you're in the wrong line of work, dude. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm sorry, before I forget, I actually have to bring this up. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. But like I was saying, you should never have to go to work and kiss somebody's ass. And some people are just built that way. Some people actually, they just live to do that kind of stuff. There's guys that don't need to kiss anybody's ass, and they do it anyway because they just like kissing up to somebody. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it's silly. I've never been that type. I've never endorsed kissing someone's butt, because at the end of the day, why should you have to do that in order, do you do your job well or not? If you do a good enough job, you don't have to kiss anybody's ass. So it never made sense to me why people, I get why people do it, because some people are just lazy. They don't want to do a good job. They think that if they get in buddy with their boss, that they won't have to, that none of the real work will ever get put on them. And that's true a lot of times, unfortunately. But that's only if it's a shitty boss, not a good leader. Good leaders don't need to have their ego fed. If you're if you consider yourself a leader, but you endorse, or you maybe not openly, but if you favor the guys that suck up to you, guys and girls, I don't want to exclude anyone, but if you endorse people kissing your butt all the time, and you basically help them to not have tough days, then you're not a good leader anyway. Because a good leader will find a way to get people motivated enough to do a good job, and then if people are doing a good job, you don't have to kiss anyone's ass. You let your work speak for itself. But B, if you're the type that needs somebody to kiss your butt all the time, you have an issue with your ego. You got an ego problem. Nobody should need... Listen, if you feel strongly about yourself, like confident, and I don't mean in an arrogant way, I don't mean that you feel like you're better than everyone. I just mean if you feel confident in who you are, and you feel confident about your abilities, your talent, skills, whatever, you don't need somebody to feed your ego. You don't need someone to like get you coffee or bring you a fucking donut every day to work, or say, yeah, whatever you want, boss. You don't need that nonsense. I remember I worked with this guy named Gino years ago, and he constantly, no matter who it was, it was people that were of management. It was people above him, but he would call all of these managers boss all the time. He'd go, yeah, sure, boss. Oh, yeah, boss, is there anything I can do for you, boss? And I'm like, you sound pathetic, dude. And this guy was like in his 40s back when I was, 21, 22? And so it's like, you're a grown man, and you're constantly going, oh, yeah, sure, boss. Yeah, anything you need, boss. If your boss needs you to do that, dude, get out of that damn job. That's a shit boss. That's not a leader. That's not a good president, owner, manager, And listen, it's okay if you use the word boss all the time because it's just part of your vocabulary. But if you're legitimately calling your managers boss because you think that it's going to make you look better, dude, you shouldn't have to do that. You should let your work speak for itself. And B, you sound ridiculous. You sound silly as F when you go around calling people boss all the time. Like, it's one thing, there's a gas station by and I've heard this several times from several people, but there's a gas station by my house, and the guy, every time I go in there, the guy's like, hey, boss, how you doing? And it's like, I'm not your boss. I mean, I appreciate you basically, giving me the respect, I guess, to say that you tell me what to do, but I don't. I don't tell you what to do, man. If I told you to shut this building down today, would you? If I told you to close up and go home early, would you? No. So I'm not your boss. And I get it. It's part of certain people's vocabulary. I'm just letting you know how it sounds to a person who really does not appreciate ass kissers. And it's not, some people don't say it to, like, if you're at the cash register of a store and you call the customer boss, I get it. It's you're just saying it, you're being nice and all that stuff, but that's fine. You can do that. I'm just saying, man, if you call every manager that you're at your job, if you're working at a job, if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not the owner, you're not the president of a company, if you're calling your boss's boss, dude, it's not a good look. It's really not. And plus, they shouldn't need that. If you feel like that's the best way for you to keep your job, is to say that. Like, if you feel like if you stopped saying that it would affect you negatively at your job, get out of that damn job. Because those people are ego-driven. If they need that, if they really need you to call them boss, they have a fucking ego problem. They have a confidence problem. Nobody should get into management with the expectation that people now need to kiss my ass. If you do, then you're in it for the wrong reasons. You're going to fail, and nobody is going to respect you in the long run. You may get what you want early on, but these things never work out well long term for people that are worried about how good they look. You should never worry about how good you look. You should worry about getting the job done and doing it well, doing it good. Whatever it is you're doing. It doesn't matter what position you have in life. It could be working at a library, putting books away, or it could be running a Fortune 500 company. Does not matter at all. Do a good job. Let your actions speak for themselves. Unless it's a job that you actually hate and you're trying to get out of, you should be actually trying to do your best regardless, because it represents you as a person. But if this is a job that you hate, I'm a firm believer in, listen, if you're at a job that you don't like, I've heard a lot of people say, like, you should do your best no matter where you are, even no matter what job you have. And I get the theory behind that. The theory is that it's for you, not for them. You should be doing a good job because you are capable of it, because you're a good worker, a good person. You have standards, and it's basically setting you up for how you want to operate in the future at a job that you do like, and all these things. But the reality is, if you care about something enough, you're going to try hard. Like, I work 10 times because of the job that I'm currently have, that I'm trying to get away from. I'm trying. Basically, I work 10 times harder at my own house than I do at the actual job. And it's not because I'm a shit worker or I don't, or anything like that. It's because the bosses and the management don't deserve it. They constantly take from the people. They constantly do all the wrong things for people at the job. They're greedy. They take for themselves constantly. They try to benefit themselves only. Every decision that they make, every policy that they make, every rule, law, all that stuff that they do, it's all geared towards how the production workers can make extra money for the corporate side. And they're already the highest paid fucking people here. So the highest paid people are desperately trying to figure out how the people doing all the actual work that makes the money for the company, they're trying to figure out how those people can put more money into the corporate pockets and take away from the lowly production workers that aren't really making a lot anyway. They're making decent money. The production department's making decent money, but nowhere near as much as the people in the office. The ones that are up there constantly and this is at the job I'm talking, and this is a lot of companies. It's not all companies. Good companies don't operate like this, but the shitty companies that are filled with bosses and not leaders operate in the way of, how can I make sure that the people doing all the work put money in my pocket? How can I make sure that all of our little policies, all of our rules that we make up are geared towards helping them make us money, making us look better? If you're a boss, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm not going to make a big, long, drawn-out episode, but I think you guys are getting the point of what I'm talking about. But to summarize all this, in essence, a boss will do everything in their power to help you make them look good instead of helping you look good. A leader will jump in, dive in, help out, and say, we got this. We can do this. We will work together. We will win as a team. A boss will say, you can do this. You can do that. I need this. I need that. That's a boss. Don't be a boss. Nobody on earth likes a boss. They may like the person that's in charge that they call boss, but that ain't a boss. That's a great leader is what that is. And nobody's going to go to work and be like, hey, great leader, what are we doing today? What job do you have for me today? But that's how good leaders operate. There was a shift before at this company that I know of, and I don't want to call out the company by name, but for a while they had the president of the company was this phenomenal, awesome, great guy that cared deeply about you as a person, not what job you're doing or how you can do more for him. All he cared about if you tried to bring up the job to him, he was like, he's like, that's fine, man. I don't care about that. How's you and your family doing? How is your daughter or your son doing? How is your mom doing? How or he would talk about sports. He'd be like, oh man, did you see the Lions this week? Or did you see, and this is talking in Detroit, the Detroit Lions, or did you see the Detroit Tigers? Did you see the game this week? Did you see this? Did you see it? Oh, did you hear about this? And it was all communication that was about you and him. It had nothing to do with your job. It had nothing to do with how much production you got done. It had nothing to do with, man, did this run good so I can make a lot of money this week? None of that ever mattered to him. Even, in fact, at Christmas time, not only did you get a Christmas bonus there, but he would write out these letters. They were like Christmas poems. And what they were poems about the job, about the actual company and what the company was doing. They were poems about that, but what they were sung to Christmas songs like Jingle Bells or Deck the Halls or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They were poems that when you read them, it even said at the top, like, sing to the song of, or sing to the tone of, or whatever, and it would say like Deck the Halls or Jingle Bells. And it would be like these silly, goofy poems that like were cheesy as fuck, but they let you know that he cared because he didn't have to do that. He wasn't paid to do that. And as soon as that man retired, as soon as he was done, working for a career, those poems stopped. They went away. The Christmas bonuses got worse. The yearly cost of living got worse. It then changed names from cost of living, which is almost like a mandatory thing every year, to general wage increase, meaning if they didn't feel like giving you one, they didn't have to. And the new owner, the new president of the company, it went from a guy that cared about you as a person to a guy that clearly only cares about how much money they're making every week, every month, every year. It turned into being all about what you could do for him, not what he could do for you. And any good leader knows, or any good owner of a company, owner of a business knows, your people don't work for you. You work for them. If you run a business, and this is where I really wanted to hit home with the entrepreneurs out there. If you run it, or even if you're not an entrepreneur and you're thinking about becoming one, if you're thinking about running a business and you're going to have more than just one, you're going to have more employees working under you, this is extremely important. The very first thing you should take care of in any business is your employees. If you take care of your employees will take care of the customer. And that's the bottom line. You keep your employees happy. You keep them feeling good about coming to work. You keep them feeling motivated and productive and give them incentives to be great. And they will take care of your customer. Your customers will love it. But when all you care about is getting parts out the door or getting shipments made or getting the customer served, instead of caring about how you're treating the employee that is serving the customer, you've lost. You've already lost. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a president of a company, you're a manager, even a supervisor, a foreman, even if you're an assistant to a manager of any kind, or maybe even if you're thinking about becoming one of these things, understand this. You take care of your employees first, and the customers will be taken care of. It happens every time. Yes, you're going to have loss. Yes, you're going to have a meaning in money, or even employees. If you're an owner of a company, you're going to lose some people because some people are only going to, everyone's got different goals and dreams and accomplishments that they're shooting for. Not everyone wants to just be your worker. You know what I mean? So if you're an owner of a company or manager, president, foreman, whatever, supervisor, not everyone wants the same things you do. So you're going to lose people no matter how great you treat them because some people just don't want that as their career. However, you're going to get way farther, and you're going to have a lot more retention of employees, meaning you're going to keep a lot more of your employees. They're not going to leave you as often if you take care of them. If you went to a company, if you work for a company and you go in every day and you feel good about what you're doing and you feel motivated and you're getting paid well and you really like the job, why would you leave? You'd be an idiot to leave. If you love everything that I just said, then why would you leave? You wouldn't. But if you have higher goals or different goals, different dreams, no matter how good the job is, if it's not what you want in life, you're going to leave, of course. So you're not going to keep everybody. You can't keep everybody. But you also have to notice as a manager, when somebody is just a shit employee and you've done everything in your power you've given them opportunities. You've sat them down one-on-one and said, look, dude, what can I do for you? Sally, what can I do to make your job better? What can I do to help you? What can I do to make your day easier? That's what you should be doing every fucking day. But bosses, and I've seen a lot of this, bosses say, well, you're here to work. It's not here to be easy. I'm not here to make your job easy. I'm here to get the job done. We're all here to do a job. And that's the stupid bullshit that they try to feed their employees to make you feel like, well, if you don't like it, there's the door. Okay, well then leave the fucking door. Open the door and let me out. Because that's what you should be feeling like if you're a worker for one of these types of bosses, not leaders. Leaders care about making their people look good. Bosses care about their people making them look good. That's the bottom line. And if there's anything I missed, please let me know. Please get a hold of me. Find me on any any platform. Please let me know how you feel about this, what you think. I want to hear your insight. I'd love to hear your story or hear you share with me about, what it is that you're dealing with, how your company or your job, whether you're the top of the totem pole or the bottom of the totem pole or anywhere in between. I want to hear what your experience is with this and tell me maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm wrong about something, but I'll get into this more when I have more time, but I really just wanted to hit on this because it was something heavy on the mind today, and I've been dealing with a lot of thought about this lately, and I just didn't want to have the thought in my head just disappear and then me just never touch on it. I fully believe that this is helpful, whether you are the owner of a company or you're a temp at a company. I really feel like this is important for you to know and understand about business, because if you're just say you're a worker, you're a temp and you're trying to get hired into a company, look at all of these things and understand what is really important and see how other people feel about these things that you're working with. Because if they're telling you that all the things that I'm just saying right now, that those things don't happen, like meaning all the good things, like if you don't have leaders at your company, get the fuck out of there. It's going to be terrible for you in the long run. Unless there's like some hope or you have to assess each situation differently. It's not just black and white about if you go work here, it's going to suck. If you go to work at this place, it's going to be great. You got to feel out the environment. You got to feel out the culture. If the people are genuinely happy, or generally happy, I should say, if the majority of people are happy at the company and they like what they do and they feel enthusiastic and motivated, that's probably a great sign that you're working for leaders in a good cultured business, not just some boss that cares about getting himself a better raise or more quarterly, like a higher quarterly bonus, getting a better Christmas bonus, or getting a pat on his back for how good he got his or her employees to do the job that they were supposed to get done. Because good leaders will jump in and help you get the job done. Bosses will give you a list of all the things they want done, or they'll tell you, hey, I need you to go do this. Hey, I need you to go do this. Hey, I need you to go. Anytime your boss is saying, hey, I need, or hey, you need, that's a boss. Anytime a leader comes up to you and says, hey, we really need to get this done, and if you need any help, I'll be glad to help you. That is a fucking leader, and that's who you should be working for. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an owner, a president, any of these things, or if you're a supervisor, if you're a foreman, anything, I'm telling you how important this is to take care of your employees. Make them feel like you have their back. Make them feel like you care about them, not just what they do for you, but what they are as people, how they are, how they're doing, how they're feeling. Make sure you your number one priority should be making sure your employees feel good, feel motivated, feel happy. Because if they're not going to be very productive. And in the long run, you're not going to be looking very good anyway. But that's all the time I got for you today, guys. Please leave me a voice message if you're listening through the Anchor app, you can leave me a voice message, and I'd be glad to get back to you and talk to you. And if you find me on Instagram at Really Rich Podcast, Twitter is Really Rich Adam. What else? Oh, LinkedIn. Yeah, please find me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to connect with everybody. I love to connect with everyone. I want to hear your story. I want to hear how I can help you. If there's any information that I can give you to help in life, building confidence, financial, creating your own company, your own business, how to get started. If you're looking to podcast, I'd love to help you out with that. Anything I can do to help you, man, please just let me know. Just send me a message, DM, PM, whatever the hell they're called now. Whatever I can do for you, please just let me know. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon, all right? Peace! I'm out of here.